President Biden in Florida.
If that's your dream, I'm your nightmare.
And defending his State of the Union address. 100 Haitians attempt a float to freedom that ends in the Keys. Focus on students.
There's some enthusiasm lost, maybe. There was like this kind of like community that got broken up a little bit.
As leaders combat COVID learning losses. And South Floridians hitting the links.
I'm most excited for the Joker over there.
With their favorite Pixar characters. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Leon Abu-Tarbush.
I'm Elena Key, and today is Friday, February 10th, 2023.
Live from the FIU Lee Kaplan School of Journalism and Media, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Sunshine State, President Biden choosing Florida as one of his first visits after a State of the Union. The president touched down in Tampa yesterday and discussed an issue important to Floridians, Social Security.
The network's Kenya Cardone has a look at his visit.
President Joe Biden on the road in Florida, armed for battle with Republicans.
Look, I know that a lot of Republicans, their dream is to cut Social Security and Medicare. Well, let me say this. If that's your dream, I'm your nightmare.
The president's main target since his State of the Union address, Florida's own Senator Rick Scott. Biden waved a pamphlet highlighting the Republican senator's plan to sunset all federal legislation every 5 years, including Social Security and Medicare. The Florida Republican in an interview with CNN's Caitlin Collins arguing that's not the case.
I wrote the plan and I've been clear about it. Anybody asked me what I meant, I've been very clear. Nobody believes that I have a goal of reducing. I don't know any Republicans that want to cut Medicare or Social Security benefits. He's been a complete failure, and now he lies about what I want to get done.
The president also gearing up for a face-off with the GOP over the debt ceiling.
And I said, that means you all are for keeping Social Security? They all stood up, said, yeah. I said, well, we got a deal.
Biden also warned Republicans hoping to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act, which includes caps on insulin and Medicare negotiating prescription drug prices.
I will veto it.
All arguments that could be central to a 2024 re-election bid. The president taking that pitch to a state that's rich with senior voters, a group he lost in Florida by 10 points in 2020. And looming large over this trip are the two men who could serve as the president's chief Republican rivals, Governor Ron DeSantis and former President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, a 2024 announcement from Biden still on the fence.
It sounds like you're running.
I've made that decision.
Reporting for South Florida Media Network, I'm Kenya Cardone.
Educators across the country are sounding the alarm about the learning loss kids nationwide experience as a result of the pandemic. Reporter Sabrina Bergenstein from our D.C. Bureau explains how the nation's capital is addressing the problem.
Behind me is the office of D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, who announced plans to increase the city's high-impact tutoring initiative to help students get back on track with their educational curriculum.
The city will invest $7 million in grants to 9 DC organizations that will provide students with language arts and mathematics tutoring in school. An education expert said effective tutoring is accomplished through hands-on interactions.
You have to work in the community with the young people. You train the young people in the community and in the schools to do the math and to learn how to teach the math. So they're very seriously trained before they go in, and then there's such a trust level.
Director of Research and Evaluation of Girls Inc., Trena Vallado, witnessed her 2 kids struggle to adapt after the online classes ended.
There's some enthusiasm lost, maybe. There was like this kind of like community that got broken up a little bit, and then as they continue on in school, they're like, well, why couldn't we just do this online now?
Professor Wynn revealed students who are most affected by this issue are those who come from lower income families who've been experiencing learning equity way before the pandemic.
Question that whole term learning loss because it's so tied to the inequities. So the students at the bottom still suffered the most because they didn't have the computers.
At a news conference, Mayor Bowser said that the grants are expected to help 3,600 students. Those interested in tutoring can also apply at citytutordc.org. I'm Sabrina Beggerstein in Washington, D.C. for the South Florida Media Network.
The Pembroke Pines Police Department is in mourning today after an officer on duty tragically died. Pembroke Pines Police Officer Charles Herring passed away from a motorcycle accident. Investigators said Herring was patrolling on his motorcycle and was struck with falling debris from a tree, which caused him to be ejected from his motorcycle.
State officials are trying this morning to control an influx of migrants arriving in Florida. A small boat arrived in Tavernier Pier yesterday carrying over 100 migrants. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol say the migrants traveled from Haiti. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has activated the National Guard to help with the influx and provide aid through an executive order that is set to expire in March. The Coast Guard has seen an increase of Cuban and Haitian migrants arriving at Florida's coast as the numbers reach the tens of thousands over the past year.
Today, the Biden administration is considering a new policy to reduce the flow of migrants entering the U.S. from the southern border. The new policy would allow the U.S. to fast-track deportations of non-Mexican immigrants and have them remain in Mexico, as the previous migrant control policy, Title 42, is set to expire soon. This would be the first time Mexico would take back non-Mexican deportations at a large scale. Negotiations between the U.S. and Mexico are still ongoing.
A proposal to give school officials access to information about students' menstrual cycles have been dropped. After an emergency board meeting held yesterday morning, the governing body for high school sports has opted to remove any questions about menstruation from medical evaluation form required for all high school athletes. The board's CEO recommended removing those questions, citing privacy concerns.
The fifth time is a charm for a former Dolphin hoping to get in the NFL Hall of Fame.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
Beauty of Pixar Putt is that it celebrates all of our favorite movies.
Things are getting animated on the mini golf course as part of a pop-up experience in South Florida. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
If you love me enough to tolerate my perfect little pets and all their glorious dander, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere, and just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Feeling a buzz? South Florida getting a taste of Pixar's best film through mini golf. Pixar Putt is the newest pop-up in Fort Lauderdale, featuring some of the most iconic faces in animated film.
The network's Vanessa Garcia has more on the interactive experience.
Favorite pop-up has arrived to South Florida for the ultimate mini golf experience. Pixar Putt in Fort Lauderdale is ready to transport the community into beloved Pixar movies.
Beauty of Pixar Putt is that it celebrates all of our favorite movies. You know, the very first one was Toy Story that premiered back in 1995. So we all have these touchstones to various movies. We all have our favorites. So the chance to be able to interact with these movies is a lot of fun.
The mini golf course consists of 18 interactive holes inspired by Pixar characters and stories such as Monsters, Inc., Toy Story, The Incredibles, Ratatouille, and many more to choose from. Inviting all ages to come and enjoy 7 days a week, offering after dark sessions to adults 18 and older, Thursday through Saturday.
For me, it was just the Pixar characters, because like movies that we love, so I just thought it would be fun to do while we were here.
I'm most excited for the Joker over there.
The community will be able to golf across the giant guitar from Coco and see the floating house from Up in a way they've never seen before. South Florida is the 6th stop for this pop-up and will continue to tour nationally with more locations. But for now, it will be going until March 26 in Las Olas Oceanside Park. Hurry and book an experience to mini golf across iconic childhood films before it's gone. To join in on all the infinity and beyond fun, visit www.pixarput.com. I'm Vanessa Garcia, South Florida Media Network.
After over 22 years since his retirement, former Dolphins linebacker Zach Thomas is a member of the 2023 class for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. During his 12 seasons with the Fins, Thomas was a vital part of the dominant defense the Dolphins had in the late 90s and early 2000s. He has more than 1,700 tackles and 7 Pro Bowl selections. It's the most all-time by a Dolphin defender. This is his 5th time as a Hall of Fame finalist. Zach now lives with his wife and 3 children in Northeast Broward, and he described himself as a full-fledged soccer dad.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Elena Key.
I'm Leon Abutarbush. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.